Hi everyone. In this week's weekly diary, I'll be starting off with Filing for Love. I've watched episode 7, 8, and 9 the past week and I want to talk about it. So, in these episodes, we first of all delve into the VP and Ina's past relationship, how things came to be and how things eventually broke off between the two of them. And if you were to just look at it objectively, Ina was in the wrong for breaking off that relationship. The way she went on and on, like, it's fine, we can end the relationship. You can marry someone of your social standing. I'm not bothered by it. I knew this wasn't going to last anyway. Was wrong. She communicated her feelings pretty badly because in a roundabout way, what she was actually saying was choose me, fight for me, ignore what your what would be the norm for someone of your stature and choose this relationship with me. Considering her past, the way her father chose to ignore her and didn't choose her, I can understand her not wanting to cajole or hold on to a man to stay with her, and that she wanted Jael to choose her for her and not because she asks him to, but still she should have just been plain and open to him. I really was I was really pitying him in those past scenes, seeing him really struggle to try to hold on to her. But the fact remains, she left, he got married. So in the present, he really needs to let her go. Especially because it's very, very obvious that she has moved on. Yes, she does still care for him, but it's obvious that those feelings are very platonic and the person that she has romantic feelings for now are Kijun. It was just so painfully awkward the way he kept inserting himself in the equation and trying to dismiss Kijun, and then even eventually taking it so far as to wanting to transfer him overseas. I was like, dude, this is not going to endear you to the girl. Like, even if he leaves, the point is it is her. She gets to make that decision. If she's not interested in you, even if you transfer Kijun to even if you transfer him to a different planet, that's not going to make the relationship between you and Ina work. She has to be the one to want to be in the relationship with you. And I have to give props to Ina for this particular aspect of a character. She may be horrible at communicating her feelings, but when it comes to drawing the line, when it comes to telling the other person, I am not interested, my girl graduated with first-class honors from the school of I am just not into you. She not only drew the line, she painted it. She made it 3D. She made it extra crystal clear that she was not interested in Jael, and I loved her for that. That was wonderful. I mean, I don't get how you couldn't understand it. You came over to her place, she drove away. You tried to transfer Kijun, she confronted you. I mean, every instant she's made it pretty clear she doesn't like you. And then when he tried to make them into a we, a kind of you and I, we're now we. And she was like, we? There's no we. The only we is we are never ever getting back together. Then eventually we get to know about the audit Kijun was working on before he was transferred to Team 3, right? Where it seems like Jael is, I think he has set up this company in order to embezzle funds from his father's company. That's what it seems now, at least. I mean, we don't really have any evidence to the contrary, so I'll just admit that I'll just take it as he was embezzling the funds. And while I sympathize with his background and what happened to his mother and how his father treats him and how his younger brother also treats him, I empathize, but Ina, what are you doing? Girl, you can explain to Kijun the reason why you are holding off on, going after this crime that, jail has committed. What I didn't understand was her doing the exact same thing she did years ago with her previous relationship. Instead of just saying what she feels, she hems, she haws, she makes it seem like, she's fine with the other person leaving. It's not going to really affect her, and she cuts off people and just goes into a shell. I empathize, but honey, girl, this is not the way. Thank God for Kijun being the kind of person he is, because honestly, Ina would have run that relationship into the ground. Like, thank God he has much better communication skills than Ina, because left to her, this relationship would have been set ablaze a long time ago. He eventually goes to her, talks to her, and tries to, coax the truth out of her. And just when I was like, oh yes, they have finally reconciled, everything is right, my ship is sailing, Jail's raggedy ass self just has to appear. Like, it took so much for Ina and Kijun to finally be in the same spot together alone. I don't know why he appeared in this scene. I was just thinking, brother, do not ruin this scene for me. Like, things are about to get romantical. Do not ruin this for me. Like, go away. The door. Just leave. She doesn't want you. I don't just grab the message already. And he is so selfish, because aside from the fact that Ina is completely uninterested to him, even if she was, she showed a modicum of interest in him, he has to realize that a relationship with the both of them cannot work now. First, he is married, and he has such a high status in the company that there is no way he would divorce his wife and then get together with Ina, that it wouldn't cause a huge scandal. Something that he should know that Ina desperately wants to avoid, given the kind of background she has. But of course, he ignores it because, he wants her and therefore he must have her. The selfish idiot. Which brings me to Assistant Ajong. Girl, this girl annoyed me this last 3 episodes. Like her partner in Unrequited Love, I do not give a single fuck about how she feels. I do not care about this character. The way she behaved in this past 2-3 episodes, ugh. I don't even know who is worse between her and Jail. Jail misusing his power and her trying to indict Ina for something that she didn't do. Girl, she knows. She knows that Ina and Kijun like each other, and by this episode, she knows that the two of them are together, but she's still angry. What the fuck? What the actual fuck do you want? Realistically, Ina and Kijun getting together should make her happy, right? Ina really wasn't the reason why Jail isn't paying her any attention. Anyway, she's not the obstacle to Jail not noticing her. But let's just say, okay, Ina was the reason. Now Ina is in a relationship with Kijun. So the road should be clear for her, right? Ina is not engaging with the VP. She's not doing anything with the VP. This should make her happy, right? But no, she just keeps acting like she was wronged. She keeps acting like she's a victim. Everyone is ganging up against her and hurting her. And the entire time I was like,
it's almost hurtful to me to watch her be so dumb.
The problem isn't Ina. The problem is the man you're interested in. And might I remind you, the married man that you are interested in. And the fucking audacity. The audacity to confront Ina. Now that you have 2 men chasing after you, how does it feel? It feels fucking delightful. Thank you. And you? If you have a problem, don't take it up with Ina. Take it up with the guys who are chasing her, who are falling all over themselves to get her attention. She's not the problem, okay? If, in your opinion, the reason why you can't get that man is because Ina is spreading her coochie, spread yours too, my sister. Spread yours and see how far it gets you. Even if the male lead, the second male lead, their fathers, their grandfathers, the barber, the cafe barista, and every single man in that town was chasing after her, it's none of your business. And I just love the fact that when she confronted Ina, she didn't even try to like defend herself or the rubbish that females usually do, where they're like, no, it's not my fault, I'm not the one trying to seduce them, they're the one coming after. I love that she didn't resort to any of that bullshit, that she didn't try to explain anything. She just gave her straight facts. The reason these men aren't interested in you, it's not me. Even if I left them, they still wouldn't go for you. And you know what? You don't get to talk to me this way. Me boss, you assistant, know your place. That scene was so cathartic. My God. If I could, I would have entered the screen and given Ina a great, great high five. Anyway, I have seen the preview for episode 10 and I'm a little bit scared. So far, we have managed to avoid ridiculous misunderstandings, pointless breakups, and I'm doing this for your own good nonsense. For the most part, this relationship has been very mature. There has been communication. Most things have been wonderful and sweet, and I hope we progress into the final episode in the same manner. So my fingers are crossed. I'm just hoping they land this. Like, we are so close. We are so close, and I am hoping they land this correctly. And anyway, we'll see what happens in the final 2 episodes, and I hope Ajong gets what she deserves, lying, backstabbing bitch. I have also begun watching Love Upon a Time. I've just watched the first 2 episodes this week, and I'm very conflicted about how I feel about it. First, I do like the idea of the story, someone traveling back in time, kind of, and he has, the facial features of someone that lived at that time and is trying to figure out, what's going on, what's happening, why am I back here, and how do I get back home. I do enjoy that, I do enjoy that premise. But there are certain things that I also disliked about this first 2 episodes. So first, the things I liked, I really like the actor for the character Pod. I can't quite remember his name right now. He has such a commanding and grounding presence that he brings to the character, which I really, really enjoy. And that is why the actor for Kun really stands out to me, and not in a good way. I understand the drama is trying to be comedic. It's very, very comedic in these initial episodes. But I can't quite put my finger on what doesn't sit right with me with the comedy. There seems to be 3 things that could possibly be the reason. First would be that the actor for Kun, because he does most of the comedic bits, either he's not very good at acting comedy, because for the more more quiet portions, the more realistic scenes, he seems good, he seems fine, he does well. But when it comes to those those scenes where he needs to be extra, just something about it doesn't quite fit. So it's either he's not a very good comedic actor, or he doesn't have very good comic timing, or, and this is the one I suspect the most, there's something wrong with the editing of these comedic scenes. I started to notice that they seem to go on for too long, and so it prevents the comedy from being very sharp. It's like they laid the setup for a joke, Then you get to the punchline, and then the punchline is explained, and then they also explain why the explanation to the punchline is funny. Like, there are certain scenes I just feel like they should have just immediately cut and then jumped to something else, and that will make it immediately much more funnier. But they let it play it out for way too long, and I'm like, okay, when are we moving on? I get the joke, move on to something else. So it's either one of these that's the problem. I think I have to rewatch it to know which exactly, or maybe it's a if some sort of combination of the two. The actor not being very good at comedic parts, and the edits being not sharp enough. But I do think I'll continue watching it. I am very curious about this world that they've built and what's going to happen later on. I'll give feedback on how that goes. I also finished the 3rd season of From, and just like the previous 2 seasons, I left with more questions than answers. If anything, we barely got an answer to anything. So Tabitha and that guy, what's his name? The tech guy. I guess they were original residents of that town, and when the other people chose to sacrifice their children, they were the ones who didn't, which is why I guess incarnations of the 2 of them keep coming back to that town to right the wrongs that the town committed. I mean, it is an explanation, but it very much depends on how the finer details of the story and of the things that happened in the past, how they explain those in the next season. That will determine if this is a satisfactory answer to a lot of the questions that have been building up from the 1st season. There's still a lot that I expect them to do, and I'm hoping they land this right. And for where we have left off, things seem to be really messy. With Sarah torturing Elgin, and Boyd's disease seemingly coming back, and what's her name? Fatima giving birth, and the child being one of those smiling creatures, and Randall and Marianne and Julie, having all these disturbances, not being themselves again. There's a lot that's going on, and I really hope season 4 is where we start to get like really concrete explanations for everything happening. I'm hopeful though. I'm really, really hopeful. And I think that is it for this week. That's everything I've watched. Today is the 28th of May, 2026. Bye.